In the quiet town of Asaga, Oaxaca, in Abia State, a boy was born on January 7, 1945. His name, Ukpai. A child who would one day shake nations with his voice, his faith, and his fire for God. But his beginning was not glorious. At the tender age of 10, lost his father. The world grew cold overnight. The once lively boy became the child who watched others eat while he prayed not to faint. He would later say, "I was not born great. I was born broken, but God picked the pieces." At 13, while others played in the rain, knelt before God. In 1958, he surrendered his life to Christ. It wasn't a grand church moment, no flashing lights, no famous pastor. Just a boy and his Creator, and a burning question in his heart. "Lord, what can you do with a boy like me?" God would soon answer. The young Ukpai had an unusual hunger for knowledge. He studied in Aba, then journeyed to the United Kingdom, the United States, and beyond. He became a student of both science and spirit, earning qualifications in engineering, journalism, and divinity. He once said, "If God gives you a brain, don't insult him by refusing to use it." His education was not for titles, but for service. Every classroom, every exam, every night of hunger was preparing him, not for comfort, but for crusades that would touch millions. It all began humbly, a prayer meeting in his living room. A few neighbors, a few chairs, and a burning faith. But that little fire grew into a flame that would spread across Nigeria and the world. He founded the Ukpai Evangelistic Association, headquartered in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Through it, he began organizing massive crusades. Greater Ibadan for Christ, 1982, Greater Lagos for Christ, 1985, and many more. Crowds filled stadiums. People cried, sang, and witnessed miracles that defied human logic. The blind saw, the lame walked, the barren conceived. But behind every miracle was a man who still remembered the hungry boy from Oaxaca. Yet even generals of faith are not spared the storms of life. One dark night, while on his way to a crusade, tragedy struck. Two of Ukpai's beloved children were killed in a car accident. He could have turned his back on God. He could have shouted, "Why me, Lord?" But instead, he stood before his congregation and said, "Even if he slays me, I will still serve him. My pain will not silence my purpose." That night, thousands wept. But it was also the night the world saw what faith really looks like when tested. Ukpai was not just a preacher, he was a builder. He built hospitals, schools, and ministries that touched lives far beyond the pulpit. King of Kings Hospital, giving free care to the poor. Ukpai Polytechnic in Abia State. Ukpai School of Theology, training future pastors. And a scholarship foundation, sending countless children to school. He believed that healing the body and teaching the mind were also part of preaching the gospel. If your gospel does not feed the hungry, he often said, then it is not the gospel of Christ. In 1975, he married Philomena, the love of his life, his prayer partner, his confidant, his fellow soldier of the faith. Together, they raised 8 children and 1 adopted child. She stood by him through crusades, sickness, and storms. In every photo, she's the calm in his fire. From Nigeria to the United Kingdom, from the US to Ghana, his voice echoed one message. You are not what you have been through. You are what God says you are. He was among the founding fathers of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. To many pastors, he was a mentor. In October 2025, at the age of 80, Reverend Dr. Ukpai passed away peacefully. He had fought the good fight. He had finished the race. He had kept the faith. The news of his death echoed across churches, cities, and nations. Tears flowed, but so did gratitude. Because his was not just a life, it was a legacy. Today, his name is written not only in church archives but in the hearts of those he lifted from despair. His schools still educate, his hospitals still heal, and his sermons still inspire new generations to believe again. He was born in obscurity, but he died as a general of faith. From a barefoot boy in Oaxaca to a man who carried the message of Christ across the world, Reverend Dr. Ukpai proved that no life is too small for God to use. "I am a man helped by God," he once said. And indeed, he was. He is remembered not just for his preaching, but for his charitable works, medical outreach, eye center, hospital, educational initiatives, scholarships, theological school, polytechnic, and helping poorer communities. His life is frequently cited by prominent Christian leaders as a model of perseverance, especially when, despite severe personal losses, he kept active in ministry. For example, Pastor Enoch Adeboy has said he drew strength from Ukpai's example when he went through his own loss.